The bell above the door of the old novel bookstore jingled, a sound that usually filled Alara Swift with a deep sense of calm. Today, it was just background noise to the frantic thumping of her heart. Stacks of sonnets and shelves of semantics were her domain, but the man currently walking down the poetry aisle toward her was a different kind of literature altogether, one written in the language of sweat, resilience, and perfectly defined quadriceps. Travis Kelce, the school's beloved gym teacher, looked adorably out of place among the leather-bound classics. He was a sun-bleached adventure novel in a sea of delicate poetry chapbooks. "Okay, Swift," he said, his voice a warm, gravelly baritone that always seemed to cut through her most anxious thoughts. "I got the list. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. But you didn't specify the Dewey Decimal System for any of it." Alara laughed, the sound mingling with the dusty air. "The something blue is easy," she said, holding up a collection of Sylvia Plath poems. "The heartache in this is practically cerulean." Travis took the book from her, his calloused fingers brushing against hers, a simple touch that still sent a jolt through her system. He was her antithesis and her anchor. Where she was all metaphors and hidden meanings, he was reps, sets, and straightforward encouragement. He didn't analyze her moods, he simply asked, "What do you need?" And he always showed up. Their relationship had been the talk of Westlake High. The ethereal English teacher with a wardrobe of vintage cardigans and a quote for every occasion, somehow won over by the booming-voiced gym teacher who could rally the most hopeless football team to a victory. Their first date was a hilarious disaster. He'd taken her to a sports bar, and she'd tried to explain the tragic hero arc of Macbeth using ketchup packets. He'd listened, utterly captivated, then taught her how to shoot a free throw in the parking lot. The wedding day dawned with the soft, golden light of a sonnet. The ceremony was held in the school's sun-drenched library, a place that felt like a second home to them both. Rows of books stood as silent, approving witnesses. Instead of a traditional arch, they were married beneath a woven structure of old hockey sticks and climbing ropes, decorated with ivy and pages from their favorite books, a perfect fusion of their worlds. Alara walked down the aisle, not on a petal-strewn runner, but between the stacks of the fiction section. Her dress was vintage-laced something old, and her veil was held in place by a hairpin borrowed from her grandmother's collection, something borrowed. In her hands, she carried a bouquet not of flowers, but of sharpened pencils and fresh, unread paperback books, something new. Travis waited for her at the end of the aisle, looking powerfully handsome and uncharacteristically nervous in his tuxedo. He'd traded his usual gym shorts and whistle for the formal wear, but his athletic build and the easy strength in his stance were unmistakable. When the officiant asked for the rings, the best man, the school's chemistry teacher, handed over a small velvet box. But Travis shook his head. He reached into his pocket and pulled out 2 items. He slipped a simple, elegant silver band onto Alara's finger. Then, he handed her a small, polished silver whistle on a fine chain. "For you," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "So you can always get my attention, even when I'm spotting a freshman on the bench press." Tears welled in Alara's eyes as she laughed. She took the whistle and then, from her own pocket, she produced a tiny, leather-bound notebook and a fountain pen. "And for you," she said, her voice trembling with love. "So you can write down all the reasons you love me, and never run out of pages." Their vows were a masterpiece of their unique dynamic. Alara's were a beautifully crafted villanelle, weaving in themes of love, strength, and the unexpected rhyme they had found in each other. "You are the period at the end of my run-on sentences," she finished, "the solid ground where my thoughts finally land." Travis's vows were simpler, more powerful, spoken from the heart with the raw honesty of a halftime pep talk. "Alara, you're the final buzzer on a championship game. You're the quiet in my head after a long, loud day. I promise to be your spotter, in the gym and in life. I will always help you carry the weight." As they were pronounced husband and wife, Travis didn't just kiss her. He swept her into a dip that would have made a romance novel cover blush, the pages of nearby books fluttering in their wake. The reception was held in the gym, which had been transformed with twinkling lights and billowing fabric. The dance floor was the center court, and the first dance was to a slow, acoustic song that Alara loved. But as the night went on, the playlist shifted, and Travis, true to form, took over the DJ booth for one song. The opening beats of "Shake It Off" erupted through the speakers, and he pulled his new wife, the esteemed Ms. Swift, into the middle of the floor. There, surrounded by their friends, family, and fellow teachers, the English teacher and the gym teacher danced without a care. shaking off every doubt, every difference, and every bit of dust from the old books, celebrating the perfect, unexpected, and joyful story they were writing together.